With over 1,000 companies reporting this week, it's easy to get lost in the shuffle with all the reports. So I went through them to pick out the biggest names reporting at the end of the week so that you don't have to worry about it and you can just tune in right here. Now, some of these have great earnings track records. There's no doubt, with great beat records, but the shares might not be all that great. So that's something to be watching this week, and let's jump right in. The first one is one of those where I know a lot of people own it or like to follow it, and this one has been struggling over the last couple of years here. Qualcomm only has the one miss from 2014, but as you can see, shares are kind of depressed here. That's what I call them. And it's unclear if another beat will really impact that, because as you can see, it's very volatile up and down. Nearly every earnings report here, but I know a lot of people like to trade this stock, and so it's definitely one to be watching at the end of the week. Then we're going to get maybe some clues on what's happening in China with its consumer spending on the next company, because this one is a pure China play on the middle class, and it's in the online travel area, which we know from Expedia and Priceline and those companies, but Ctrip is the Chinese equivalent. And as you can see, it's got a great track record going back to our data in 2014. Hasn't missed in that entire time, has some big beats, and shares were recently busted out to these 5-year highs, but have pulled back a bit. We'll see what this earnings report does and if it can get back on track. Now remember, Priceline owns a part of Ctrip, so this is a good way to kind of get a gauge on what's going on in China and what's happening in the online travel area. In full disclosure, I do own shares of Priceline in my personal portfolio. The third stock is one on the cybersecurity side. They too have a great track record, but as you might imagine, as I keep saying, the shares aren't doing all that great, with them stuck in this narrow channel here. As you can see, they haven't missed either since 2014, so this great record, and they've put together 4 big beats in a row, but still, investors a little dubious here and keeping them in that narrow range. Let's see if another beat can bust them out here, but that's what a lot of people are going to be watching. The next stock is one that doesn't have the problems that some of these other ones had. It actually is at new highs, and it's one of those hot names, Ferrari. I don't think I've talked about it on these earnings videos before. I don't know why, because they do have the great record. They have just that one miss coming out of the gate there. It's not unusual for a new IPO to miss on the first quarter, because the analysts are still getting used to what the company is doing and how they're going to report. But after that, it's been green across the board, so we'll see if another beat can boost these shares even further. This is definitely one of the growth plays in the auto area. And then we're going to finish it out with another company that used to be in investors' favor, but they're now kind of struggling a bit. And this one is on the restaurant side, and you'll see it with a lot of the restaurant companies. Starbucks. So they only have that one miss back in 2015. Otherwise, it's been a good record. But clearly, investors a little jittery here about where the growth is going to come from with this company. And these shares have just been stuck for several years, underperforming the S&P 500 here. So this quarter is a little key. Watch the same store sales growth, of course. What they're doing globally, that's a big issue as well. I own Starbucks in my own personal portfolio, so I'm going to be tuning in as well. But this is one of the big restaurant names, so I know it's going to be at the top of the list for the end of the week. Now, there's thousands of companies that are going to be reporting during earnings season, and even just this week, as I said, over 1,000 reporting. So there's a lot of information out there. I try to consolidate it down for all of you. And if you're interested in the options trade, Dave Bartosiak's covering that over on Zacks Live Trader, and it's now free. You can subscribe for free over there, get all of his trades on the options side, while I'm covering just the earnings miss or beats here all week and all throughout earnings season. Be sure to check in with both of us, that's Zacks Live Trader on YouTube, and of course all the earnings that we cover on Zacks.com. So until next week, I'll see you then.